What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Blitz Sports Media. My name is Ryan Linkletter, and this was an absolute classic we got in Arizona tonight between the Seattle Seahawks and the Arizona Cardinals. We're going to have all of our post-game reactions from our staff here at Blitz Sports Media and talk about whether or not Kyler Murray is the long-term answer for this Arizona Cardinals team, where each of these teams stack up over the course of the 2025 season, and also talk about how these teams can compete against the two teams they're honestly trying to compete against at the top of their division in the Rams and the 49ers. So we're going to get right into this video here, and we're going to welcome in Dan and Andrew here. Dan, I'm going to start with you. You are the Cardinals guy for us here. Talk to me about what happened tonight. What did you like? What did you not like about this game?
Oh man, can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
Good.
you can hear you just fine.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, man. It was a tough, hard fought game, man. I thought me and Ryan hit it right on the head yesterday. It was the first to 21 points. That was it, man. It was 2020 tied in the fourth quarter. I think 30 seconds left. Just my
Yep.
instant reaction is it's 2 weeks in a row. The Cardinals special teams kind of blew it at the end. Last week against the 49ers, their punter Gillikin, he only had like a net yard of 20 yards, 20 or 30 yard punt. He punted the ball of the end zone, gave Mac Jones extra space, and he was able to drive down the field, kick a game winner. This week, their kicker, man, Chad Ryland, kicking it short of the landing zone. Seahawks get the ball at the 40. That changes the game. You can't do that in these type of games, and that was the difference tonight, man. The Cardinals fought hard and they ended up losing a heartbreaker.
Yeah, they did a great job of fighting back. I mean, that was
Yeah,
the media was going to have a field day with
yeah, I
how
know.
Kyler Murray, Marvin Harrison Jr., and this Cardinals offense performed out of the gate through the first three quarters of this game. And in the fourth quarter, they said, enough is enough. We actually have to start producing. And, once they got into a 2-minute drill, basically, when they were down two scores, they started
Yeah,
clicking a little bit. We got some momentum. Marvin Harrison Jr. got going. Kyler Murray finally said, all right, Marvin Harrison Jr., you're an elite talent. Let me push the ball down the field. Let's see what you can do if I give you the ball down the field. And Marvin Harrison Jr. did not disappoint in those situations. Obviously, Kyler throughout the game started not great. Let's just
no,
say that was not processing the field well, wasn't accurate, was not making great decisions. The offensive line, obviously a tough matchup for them, did not hold up very well. But Amari Demercado is a guy that I talked about as a major sleeper play heading into the week. He had a great game for them as a third down back. I think him and Trey Benson form a formidable duo over the course of the season. Andrew, what were your thoughts on the Seahawks side of things? What do you see from them? What would you like? What would you dislike?
Yeah, the one thing is like their defense started out pretty hot. Confusing Murray with all those blitzes and stuff. But I think Woolen's been kind of a liability in their corner room this year, like unlike previous years. And Murray got dialed in the fourth quarter, and that's when they got close at the end. But in terms of the offense, Jason had no targets after the first half. But that was more of like I think the Cardinals were very intentional on getting him out of the game. But he got dialed up like on that like third and long, third and six. That was a great fade route from Darnold, and I mean overall Darnold was pretty sharp in this game. And the run game was like hit or miss, I think, but that's just what it's going to be. I feel like most of the year anyway. So
Yeah, I think with the Seahawks, I mean they looked really strong throughout parts of this game. Their defense was absolutely feasting on the Cardinals at times. Their pass rush is honestly one of the more underrated units in the NFL. They got a top five pass rush win rate. Clearly showed today that unit's really good, and they're going to
yeah,
give a lot of offenses problems throughout the game. But most impressive player is Sam Darnold. This guy, went over from
yeah,
Minnesota, won 14 games last season, hasn't missed a beat, and he looks just as good as he did last season for the Vikings, and he's playing perfectly in a Clint Kubiak system that asks him, hey, we're going to be a run first team. I need you to excel in play action, and I need you to be hyper efficient in the throws that you're making. And we see these down the field attacks of the Seahawks offense at times, and Darnold being able to make plays. I mean, even he did it with his legs at times tonight. He was so good and really efficient. He's not going to be the type of quarterback that puts up gaudy stat numbers, but he's going to be the guy that gets the job done when you need it, and he's going to be effective in that case scenario. Now, you get into situations like this, though, where having Sam Darnold as your quarterback doesn't necessarily separate and allows the Cardinals to gain a little bit of momentum instead of, having a guy like, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes that'll go out there and just take your soul out after they're already up 2 scores, right? The Cardinals were able to kind of get back in this game because the Seahawks didn't push it down all the way on the pedal and weren't able to capitalize on that momentum they had. I think that their ground game was solid today. I like a lot with this offense and what they're showing, but they need to take that next step. They need to be the team that's scoring 30 points, not getting by scoring 20 to 23 points against the Cardinals in a game where, it really felt like through 3 quarters that it should have been a 2-score game at the end result. But that's not what we got. They had to survive. And like Dan mentioned, a mistake from the Cardinals special teams, Chad Ryland specifically, allowed them to get back in the game and then rely on a made field goal. But long-term outlook, Dan, I'll start with you on Arizona's side of things. What is their long-term outlook? Obviously, we said this was a big game for them. What's going to be happening in the Arizona media, and what should we expect the rest of the season in this NFC West race?
Yeah, well, they still got to figure out the offense. I mean, for what, almost 3.5 quarters, they couldn't do anything. They had 6 points. I mean, it was crazy how they came back and they mustered something up and they almost pulled out a victory, man. But yeah, we still have a lot of concerns about their offense. Their defense, I don't know what you guys what your impressions are of the defense. I mean, I thought they kept them in all game. They played well, and tonight this was a game they missed their corners. You don't have Will Johnson, their second round pick. They lost their best nickel corner, Garrett Williams. Starling Thomas is out. They lost Sean Murphy Bunting like even before training camp. So this is a game you miss those guys because whenever the corners were one-on-one, they were getting burned. And Sam Darnold, when he loves one-on-one, he's going to take that shot every time. He's going to give his receivers a chance. So I think that was just a game that's what happened tonight. So just what I want to see is just the offense. The offense has to improve, and the defense can't. I don't know if they're going to be able to. I mean, they started getting tired at the end, and they still almost pulled out the victory. So it's all about the offense. That's what they got. 8 days or almost like a mini bye to try to figure something out.
Yeah,
So
like 10
I got a
days.
question. What were you going to say, Andrew?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I think they have like 10 days or
10
something like
days?
that.
Yeah.
Okay, so Dan, I got a question for you. Who
Yeah.
do you think is the biggest factor in the Cardinals becoming a more consistent offensive unit? Is it the offensive line? Is it Kyler Murray? Is it Drew Petzing? Who do you think is the biggest X factor in getting this thing rolling more consistently? Because we've seen it through quarters of this offense having multiple good drives, but we've also seen it fade down the stretch. I think the biggest difference for me is that the Cardinals started slow this game. The other games they played this year, they actually started pretty fast and they kind of slowed down as the game went on. What are your thoughts? Who do you think is the biggest guy that can turn this ship around?
Yeah, no, it's got to start with the quarterback, man. I mean, you're the highest paid player on the team. His cap hit's $43 million. I mean, you're getting paid like 3 times as many dollars as the next guy. I mean, when you're getting paid that much, you're the guy. You're the quarterback. You're the leader. Just like Herbstreit was saying tonight, it's like you got to elevate it. It's like if stuff's not working, you got to elevate yourself, your teammates, the people around you. It like that's what you are. You're the face of the franchise. Everything falls on your shoulders, and that's the responsibility of the quarterback. So Kyler's got to step it up because he didn't play well tonight. I mean, 3.5 quarters, and then I mean, I don't know where that came from towards the end. I mean, it surprised me.
It looked like a different
So
offense.
yeah, I know. It was like college, like hurry up. He was just finding rhythm, and then Seahawks were blitzing. He was scrambling, throwing it around. So just yeah, I think it really revolves around Kyler. I mean, they batted a lot of balls tonight because that's all they do is quick game. They do a lot of quick game. Kyler just drops right out of the shotgun. He throws it, and those defensive linemen knew it was coming. So yeah, I mean, they got to figure something out with Kyler, man. Because I mean, at halftime, everybody with Kyler gone.
Yeah.
So something's got to change, man. They got to figure
I
something
may
out,
or
man.
may not have tweeted something or posted
Did
something
you? I didn't
about
see
how
it.
the Seahawks want them to keep Kyler around longer. That's why they gave the interception back. That's why they let him back in the
Oh
game.
yeah, yeah. That play in the first quarter that summed up being the Kyler Murray experience. It's a pick. It's the other guy returning it, fumble, and then they ended up getting 5 yards. That's what it's like being an Arizona Cardinals fan right now. That one play. It was ridiculous, man.
I'll credit, a little bit of, that comeback. Drew Petzing actually called a good game plan, I thought, in the fourth quarter. And I think we all know how much of a Drew Petzing anti guy I am. I was impressed
Yeah.
with what he showed in the fourth quarter, which was really good. But the first three quarters, I don't know what this guy was thinking by any means. I think as much as Kyler Murray is an X factor for this team, he has to take that next step. It has to be a
Yeah.
combination of him and his offensive coordinator finding a way to work with what Kyler Murray is really good at. He's an electric player on the ground. Let the guy improvise. Let the guy work on one read. Honestly, like this team would excel in a lot more of an RPO based scheme, allowing Kyler Murray to read the defense, find a Mike linebacker, Sam, a Will linebacker, read off of them, and decide whether or not they want to run pass option. You could have Trey Benson running. You could have Kyler Murray on a read option off that. And then you have a receiver working in. And that makes things really simple to get them in at least in a rhythm because it feels like this offense too much is just caught without a rhythm and it's multiple drives where they stall out and they lose all their momentum. So I think with the Cardinals, it's all about finding that rhythm. Kyler Murray has to take that step and beat good teams, or we're going to be at the end of the season. We're going to be saying, who's Arizona going to be drafting at quarterback potentially in 2025 or even 2026? We know that Drew Petzing is definitely on the hot seat for sure. We'll see how long he has this season, but Kyler Murray, this is the year that you need to prove it specifically. Andrew, I'm going to hand it off to you here on the Seattle Seahawks side of things. Seattle, obviously, now 3-1, has made some major strides from last season. Mike McDonald has done a great job with the defensive side of the ball. Clint Kubiak coming over from New Orleans looks really good as the offensive coordinator. Is this their division to lose, or are you still picking the Rams and 49ers to be ahead of them in the division standings this year?
I think it's still the Rams. I would maybe favor them a little bit just because the Niners have all their injuries. Um, but it's still going to be close. I still give Seattle a fighting shot just because their offenses looked like pretty good. I was going to say on some of those like short down and distance, like they could use like a Jalen Milroe type guy, like a mobile quarterback, to potentially get first downs and things like that. But yeah, I think they're in the race for sure, like potential playoff push. Um, Even in like a tough conference, like this was like a classic NFC West divisional game, just down to the wire, like always.
Yeah, I think, the Seahawks are definitely in a good spot. I think obviously their schedule is going to be a little bit better compared to what the Rams have per se. Heading into obviously these games that are going to be coming up, each team still has to play each other twice. That's going to be really tough for all of them, and splitting that season series is a massive thing for any NFC West team. And obviously the Seahawks are off to a good start, getting this win against the Cardinals. But the thing I want to see with this offense even more is outside of JSN, this passing game, right, can't be so reliant on him to get going, right? JSN is a great player, and teams are going to start bracketing him and doubling. The Cardinals did a good job of limiting his looks tonight in the first half, and obviously he had some big plays in the second half. That's going to happen when you're playing a great receiver, but guys like Torrey Horton need to get more reps. Cooper Kupp is not the same player he once was, but he has to play better. They're starting to involve the tight ends more in Elijah Arroyo, AJ Burner, two guys that or Barner, sorry, are two guys that, I really thought looked good tonight. That ground game working off of that. I think the biggest thing with this team is their offense is going to take them as far as they want. Can this offense elevate to a playoff caliber offense? I think right now, if you ask me, I think they are just on the cusp of being a playoff caliber offense. They look good. They play well within schedule, but when it gets off schedule, I don't think they can elevate their play to go out and win a game like that. So that's my biggest concern with Seattle. I don't think right now I would pick them to place over the 49ers or the Rams. I think the Nick Bosa injury changes a lot for the 49ers, but you guys also have to think 49ers have an incredibly easy schedule because they were the last place team in this division last year. So they should be, very favored to win a lot more games just because of that alone. And they're going to get healthier down the stretch. Kittle is going to be back here in 2 or 3 weeks. Brandon Ayuk is still waiting to come back. I mean, Ricky Pearsall looks amazing right now. Over his last 5 games has been an absolute dog. So I like the 49ers. I think Brock Purdy's a good quarterback, and we've seen them elevate their play to even go to a Super Bowl. Rams, same thing with Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay. This offense can elevate, and even when they're not playing within schedule, they do a really good job of finding a way regardless. I want Seattle to take that step because this defense is legit. This is a Super Bowl caliber defense. I just need the offense to prove it a little bit more, but I really like what I'm seeing from the Seattle Seahawks to open this year. Definitely a big time stretch and improvement from what we saw in 2023. And, Dan, we kind of talked about this the other day. You look at the Ravens defense, and Andrew, obviously you're a Ravens guy. Since Mike McDonald left, this Ravens defense has been incredibly inconsistent and volatile. What are your guys' thoughts on that? The Zach Orr versus Mike McDonald conversation.
Go ahead, Andrew. Yeah, you're the
Yeah.
Ravens guy.
Well, originally, before he left for Seattle, I was in the ballpark of wanting that. I mean, they were never going to do it, but I wanted them to promote Mike McDonald instead of keeping John Harbaugh. And yeah, this is where we are. But yeah, their defense is, they've had a few injuries to their secondary. I think Witherspoon was out for 2 weeks or something like that. So him having come back for this game was pretty big. But in terms of the differences, I just saw Zach Orr's blitzing just not working at all. While Mike McDonald, I think he did a double corner blitz on opposite side, some exotic stuff. So that kept Kyler Murray all off platform and everything. So yeah, that's probably the biggest difference between those two defensive coordinators.
Yeah, no, I did the film breakdown today actually on this Ravens defense, and a lot of what Zach Orr does, and based on the personnel right now, they're a heavy zone team. 65% of the time they're running zone coverage. Very rarely are they hopping into man. And we saw them had to start blitzing a little bit against the Lions last week, and they weren't very successful on it. Nnamdi Madubuike's out. That's not good looks for them. They need him back. Kyle Van Noy, we'll see what happens with him. Those two guys being out changes what this Ravens defense can do because they rely so much on zone coverage. And if you don't get pressure with 4 in zone coverage, it's going to make it really easy on offenses, especially if their run defense is struggling. So they have different layers that, are kind of unrelated to Zach Orr. It's more of a personnel thing. But when they do have the personnel, they still struggle with the same type of stuff. They can't make a good game plan. The Bills, for example, how can they not make a good game plan for the Bills when they have all these talented players that seemingly can, just against zone coverage, shred them up. So I think the Ravens have to find a way to implement a little bit more man coverage. Utilize your top corners the Ravens have such a deep cornerback room, such a deep, talented group of players on the defensive side of the ball. Just say, hey, we're going to man up. We're going to be better than you guys. And I think they need to do more of that going forward. That's just not Zach Orr's identity. And I know it was never Mike McDonald's, but I mean, that defense was in a much better situation with him at the helm compared to Zach Orr. So it's very interesting to see how that goes. All in all, though, guys, I really appreciate you tuning into this episode of the Blitz Angle. Drop a comment down below what your guys' thoughts were on the Seahawks and Arizona Cardinals game. Hit that subscribe button for more Blitz Angle content. Me, Dan, and Andrew will catch you guys next time.